Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Online Karting League. This is the World Final. We have been entertained by an absolutely epic Juniors Final where Deacon Willifeer took that. But we put that behind us. We celebrated Deacon. We are going to go straight into what promises to be one of the most epic events of the year in Kart Racing Pro. 24 senior drivers remain, some of the best karters, best racers in the world, best sim racers. They span all over the world. We are so excited to showcase these drivers to you, and I'm fairly certain they are even more excited than us to showcase. Kyle, here we go once again.
I'm still completely blown away by how OKL has managed to put together a sim league with over 200 entries, initial entries, and we whittle it down to 24 of the best sim drivers in the KLP. You know, up until tonight, I've heard a lot of grumblings about KLP, but it's nice to see an event like this start to change the mindset towards KLP. KLP was always just a fun thing to go and do, very gimmicky. You know, that was the consensus at one stage, but we've proven in this OKL World Final that it can be used for what its intended purpose was, and that was to simulate something. And I think we've done Shan, yourselves and OKL have done an absolute fantastic job of showcasing a sim race, you know, that does rival that of some of the world best sim racing I've watched, especially over COVID. We had a lot of productions, and I think, you know, the actual level of racing from these drivers has been phenomenal. You can see they've spent the hours, they've spent the time, and they've perfected driving these karts around, especially, you know, Bahrain and now this circuit Genk, and a circuit so well put together. I cannot fathom it. And then we've had the minis completely blow us away and get my heart racing and my energy up, and I was so immersed. It was phenomenal.
Yeah, it was. And Kyle, you mentioned the amount of laps these kids put in. I can give you an actual stat. Over 24,000 laps in the 2 weeks that these boys were doing the super license qualifiers. Over 24,000 laps in a space of 14 days by 243 drivers, and only 110 of them got their super license. That's a lot of laps. That's a lot of laps, and that was done on Sano before we gave everybody the surprise track, which is Genk. Wow, 24,000 laps done. Wow, these boys put in a lot of time, and it shows. Look at the racing we've been shown and given over the last couple days. Close bumper to bumper stuff in Kart Racing Pro, and we know Kart Racing Pro doesn't have the best netcode, you know, where the slightest of nudges can literally send you off into the abyss. But these boys have been behaving most of the times. Of course, incidents happen when you put 24 powerful drivers, some of the best drivers in the world, professional drivers rather, on a track. You will see incidents happen because they are that close. I think the top 46 or top 48 drivers were split by less than 1 second on the overall timesheets. That's fast. And that's as close as you can get.
It's just, you know, you mentioned that netcode, and yes, the minis looked a bit messy and they were bouncing around, but that is just literally how the sim is showing a bit of rubbing as racing. Nobody actually left the circuit. So it does look a bit messier than what it is, but to see these drivers put that kind of dedication, 24,000 laps. I mean, if that's not representation of how seriously some of these drivers are taking it, I don't know what is. And
Yeah.
all for the bragging rights of being the OKL World Champion. We saw last year's winner, Kiwi, not have it all his own way. He's quite a bit further down the order than I think he wanted to be in this event, going into what is essentially a pre-final for this. But saying that, Shan, I am reminded of how he won his last one out of the LCQ and still managed to get a win there. So, you know, maybe not discounting him yet. He could put something together.
Yeah, look, in all fairness, Alphonse's got more laps, more positions, less of positions that he needs to take this time around. He started right at the back in the LCQs the last time around, and the pre-final, you know, pretty much in 19th place, I believe, and he went all the way through up until like 7th or 8th, and then he won it from there. So don't don't write off Alphonse Kiwi yet. But this year, the competition is intense. Let's just have a quick look. Talk about the drivers available. I've got the entry list here. So starting on pole in this pre-final, Tay Stevens, who we believe would have been in second, but Alex O'Grady, who's starting in second position, had a 5-place penalty in that last heat. He won all 3 on track, got a late penalty, and that put him into second place for tonight. In third, we've got Archie Heron, Frederick Ravenkilde in fourth place, then Philgert Fagerlund in fifth place, Mika van der Puffert in sixth, Malcolm Milal in seventh place, William Jonil in eighth, then Adam Nudge, ninth place, Lucas Sturman, there's 2 South Africans, Lucas Sturman, the first of the South Africans, in 10th place. Then Walter Morga in 11th. Alwyn Palmquist in 12th place. Arvid Jong in 13th. Anton Carlin in 14th. Kevin Wickholm in 15th place. Francesco Cartini 16th. And Alessandro Serenetti, very out of place in my opinion, in 17th. And as well out of place, the defending champion Alphonse Kiwi in 19th place. Frederick Wald in, Alphonse Kiwi in 18th rather. Wald in 19th. LSBT in 20th place. Well, starting in 20th. Jake Fluid in 21st. Then Oscar Polsberg 22nd. Ben Lee in 23rd. And then Ruben Victor, who had an absolute phenomenal parking position into that chicane in 24th place, and his cousin Ruan Victor did exactly the same in the juniors race tonight, so let's hope he doesn't do that again. But Kyle, that is a jam-packed grid of absolute talent.
Yeah, 24 drivers that could possibly walk away with a victory there. There's no one in there that I don't think has the opportunity to move up the field. Time's super close in this. We know we saw a second separating all of them at one stage. So really, really, really close stuff between all these drivers. You can see the amount of laps that they've put in. They're so confident on this track. They just feel like I feel like they know exactly where to put these carts and how to move, how to make passes as well, which is something that I've coming into this struggled a bit with. When I started with the KLP sim, it obviously you get better at it, but it is so difficult to make the sort of passes that these guys have been making clean and not yeeting the guy next to you off the track.
Yeah, that's true. Let's have a quick look at the track we'll be racing at. So I'll quickly take us through the track map, proudly brought to you by our track modder Ruben Karstens, a phenomenal piece of artwork here, really. So we are at Genk, 1,311 meters in total this track. Turn 1, technically not a turn. Turn 2 is where the guys will go in hard. Turn 3, 4, super flat out through this whole section. 5, and then the first real hard braking zone after turn 2. 6, and then the chicane in 7, 8, 9, very, very difficult part. The section back into 10, and then another 180 or a hairpin to 11, another chicane 12, 13, that's a left-hander, and then 14, 15, that double right. This passing opportunities galore technically. There's I think at least 4 or 5 opportunities. That's an easy place. 2.51 meters worth of elevation. Kyle, there's a lot of passing opportunities, and we know these drivers. Even if it's not a corner we'll traditionally pass, these boys will send it. If the opportunity's there, they'll go for it.
Yeah, look, the one that I've enjoyed watching is that sneaky little send in between the 2 apexes of turn 1. It caused a couple of tears in the minis, though, in the pre-final, but we saw it a couple of times in the seniors where they could just, as the driver opens up for that second apex, similar to the turn 1 at Sano. I misspoke earlier, I said Bahrain, but it was Sano that they did their super licenses on. That little turn 1 there with its double apex, we see them as they open up from the defense, drivers just kind of sneak it through there. So a lot of really good passes there, a lot of switchbacks, the difference in gearing being shown quite dramatically in game. So, definitely showing that the guys have put a lot of effort into this. We expected a few changes from drivers. We've heard from Archie Heron, who's put hours and hours into setup for not only himself, but other drivers such as Lucas Sturman. There was one other that we spoke to as well. I think Tay Stevens, if I'm not mistaken, Shan.
Yeah.
Also using setups from Archie. So, and not only that, he's competing. So, you've given all your information over to these drivers, and you're still, let's say, confident enough to go and compete against them with the same setup. So I do appreciate that. That's quite nice. Nice little community that this KRP and OKL is creating.
Yeah, that's for sure. A lot of these guys help each other. They all want a competitive community, which is great. Obviously, I don't think that these drivers helping others with their setup gives all the little tricks they have up their sleeve, but they definitely give them a really good baseline. That's for sure. So yeah, let's see. Let's see what these guys can do. Lucas Sturman, hopefully he gets a better run this time around. He did say he was playing it as safe as possible. Throughout the heats, he just wanted to bank enough points to go to the top 18. So yeah, we might see Lucas Sturman show a little bit more pace, but no one can look past the likes of Alex O'Grady. He's dominated the heats. Honestly, he was dominating. The only person closer to him was Tay Stevens, who will be starting on pole position because of that penalty on O'Grady. So, those are the two drivers to look out for. But Archie Heron this time around, he's in a good starting position. I think I said that was in P3, right? So he's got the inside line. And listen, guys, we're starting with our 5 minutes of warm-up. So the guys are going to lay down the rubber on the track now. We're going to see all the boys finalize their setups. 22 made it onto the server out of the 24. So I think 2 drivers, no show tonight.
Oh, that's unfortunate. I was hoping to see a 24-strong grid, but 22 is good enough. Alessandro Serenetti, one of the drivers we expected to see much higher up the order at the start here, but he's got the time in this race to move himself up and put himself where we think he should be as well. Alex O'Grady, though, taking that penalty, and unfortunately we didn't know about it going into it, but we called him as the one we expected to be on pole. He dominated his heats. So in terms of the story of this event and watching it and the excitement for us, the spectators, I think him starting a little bit down the order is actually not too bad of a thing.
Well, when he say a little bit down the order, he's literally just slotting one position back next to his teammate, Tay Stevens. So he's in P2, though. So, but that's not the position you want to be starting on, Genk, because you're on the outside line.
We haven't seen anybody start outside row and make it out of turn 1 inside the top 4.
Yeah.
It's been very difficult throughout this racing, and I don't expect any different. We saw it in the minis as well. That inside line is the holy grail almost on this circuit on turn 1. You don't want to end up on the outside because of the way it switches back as well. So you're always so compromised to try and come left that the next part of that sector is almost ruined for you. So you find yourself defending all the way through that, and before you know it, you're fighting for 6th, 7th, 5th, 4th, instead of fighting in the front where you thought you should be, or you feel you should be, being on the front row. So interesting to see what will happen into turn 1. We saw Alex O'Grady's tactics, if you want to call it that, last night and the night previous, where he slowed the warm-up lap right down, and then all of a sudden hit the hammer. Tay Stevens, a driver that we saw sit around in that second place quite easily with him. Alphonse Kiwi, of course, we expect him to move up the order and give us a bit of a show. These drivers just getting this extra bit of practice in, so mistakes like that from Serenetti are kind of ironed out of the system, and they can get into it, put the hammer down, and it's going to be a very quick concession between, pre-final or superheat into final. So once we get started, Shan, I expect it's going to be incredibly exciting from start to finish.
Yeah, that's for sure. We've got 22 of the best karters in the world. There's some big names that didn't even make the cutoff throughout the Super License qualifiers. A driver like Kenzo Craigie, who's one of those AMG Junior Academy drivers who missed it out by 2 laps. He fell short on the Super License by 2 laps. And there's many more of those. I believe also one of the good, really good British drivers, Scott Marsh, no show for the heats, unfortunately. So I think a lot of these guys also had karting travel duties. So, but these are the guys. This is the guys that are committed. They've shown the pace. They've literally come through the gauntlet, because that is what the heats were. These guys were fighting their way through the pack, and there is also obviously a couple unlucky drivers, in my opinion, that haven't made it in because incidents happening. Alphonse Kiwi, as an example, had a horrible couple heats, right? That's why he came in literally on the last top 18 slot. So he's got a lot to do, and you don't want to be starting that far back because incidents happen in front of you and you need to avoid it. So
yeah,
luck needs to be on his side.
Mid-pack is always where it gets messy. It always gets untidy there. You've got drivers down in the mid-pack that feel they should be higher up. They're working hard to get up there. It's only the superheat that you have that can dictate to you, can dictate the rest of the final for you. If you have an error in the pre-final, if you don't find yourself inside the top 10, we've seen how the top 6, 7 break away in the beginning. You need to be part of that group to stay in contact. Otherwise, you're out in the lurch and not being able to catch the front group. You've seen how big the toe is in Genk as well. Yeah. Any sort of gap, it's almost impossible to catch without any help. So, the mid-pack, always a difficult place to be, and I think that's why so much moving and shaking happens.
Yeah, for sure. Carl, look at the rubber being put down. These guys they're rubbering in this track now. That first heat, we're going to see the track evolve even more, but that final, this track will probably be literally a black rubber line all the way through on that racing line. That's where you want to sit with. Well, I guess they need to adjust their setups, otherwise they might have too much grip. And
well, before you go away from the shot as well, before you go away, let's go back there and wait for a car to come on. This explains exactly what I was talking about with that sneak up the inside there. You see the apex, yes. The first apex, they open up for the second one. Now, when you're defending, you can hug that curb as tight as you want to. You still have to open to get back to this hairpin. So at some point, a few times throughout, the guys have been defending, the drivers have been defending into this double right. And as they open up off that first apex curb, straight away down the inside, someone gets sneaky and just off the brake, back on again, and just enough momentum to get up inside, and it becomes a corner that you have to go through side by side. And there you can see on the left, as it tightens up, there we go, we get drivers, no, unfortunately not. But there you see on the left-hand side, it tightens up again to go left. So if you do end up compromised, it's so difficult to get back through that left-hander and give yourself a run onto that sweeping, fast left straight, and which then brings you under attack into this right-hander. So there is a lot of movement that can happen, and I think that's why in the first part of the race, the first 5 kind of settle down, and they tend to break away. Because further back down the order, that sort of moving and shaking is happening a lot more because the drivers are concertinaing onto each other, and you start actually just looking for room. When you do that, you do end up in situations where you can make a pass. So the track does lend itself to some really good racing. He has another good overtaking position or corner. It's a deep on the brake. You open it up to get the run out. So a little send sneaky up the inside here does work, but it's always set up from that left-hander like I was talking before. So the first double right left-hand sector is so important to protect this area of the circuit. At any point, if you are slow out of turn 1, it carries on all the way through, and you are likely, especially in the mid-pack, to lose position.
Yeah, and I would just like to give a shout-out to our sponsors, Motel, Sports Live, and then SimWorld. Kyle, we had a discussion about SimWorld earlier. These 3 guys partnering up with OKL again. SimWorld, we've been partnering up with them throughout this whole year, probably in the last 2 years, really. And they've been growing as a sim hardware company throughout South Africa, and we just like to give them a lot of love. We'll run an ad for them right after the first heat, or probably right before we go to grid. And yeah, we can't wait to continue collaborating with the likes of SimWorld, Sports Live, the new launched application for driver profiles and managers and coaches alike. It's a nice little tool to keep an eye on what drivers are doing in the world, specifically, the heats, upcoming events they are doing, and, just stats about them. So we're super excited to continue this partnership with these companies going forward. Oops, and I heard somebody smash into tires there for a moment as we moved over to Fagerlund.
Yeah, that's Victor Fagerlund there. He, I don't know if he had the greatest of heat races. Alwyn there, just running a little bit wide, 277 on board that Kart Republic. Onto this left sector here. Yeah, we did mention that a lot. There's a lot of Kart Republics out on circuit. The F8, obviously the FA version as well. There's an Energy, one of my favorite chassis out on circuit. That blue, red, and metallic shine to it. I just absolutely love the way that suit fits in as well. Ben Lee aboard the Prima stickered KR. Still has the KR steering wheel, grey and orange.
Yeah, which is literally another Kart Republic chassis.
Yes, another Kart Republic. There's another Kart Republic, the FA.
So this is the OKL Kart Republic World Invitational, rather, with a couple odd chassis popping up as like the OTK.
Yep.
It is really amazing how we spoke about it, I think, last night, with just how dominant the Kart Republics are, especially in the European scene. They really are a force to be reckoned with, and the kids choose to run these karts because that is what they race with in real life, and they dominate with that. So even though these karts in the simulator on the KF3 engines are 100% the same, there really is no difference. I know this because we have the data available to us. I think what happens here a lot of the times, the drivers have what you call sentimental value. They prefer the OTK, and then they think it drives better just because they love the kart. But they really do. They are the same. They really are.
I would very much love to see a world final, especially with these drivers qualifying in the karts that they like, their Tony karts, and their Ricky Flynn Motorsport sticker kits, or whatever it is they choose to run throughout their normal series of running. The OKL Worlds, the OKL Africa, OKL Southern Africa, the Euro Series. I'd love to see a world final though, with the OKL World Final sticker kit and the OKL kart, and everybody one make. Let's go racing. The minis, it just looks really, really good.
Yeah.
Give the guys their country suits, and let's call this a world final.
Yeah, that's definitely something we can have a look at for the future. Also just give a shout out to the race director Scotty Briscoe, who made all these suits and karts on display today. A phenomenal piece of work by Scotty Briscoe. Really, these karts are looking phenomenal. And then all the drivers, most of the drivers sporting their own personal helmets. There, one or two drivers that don't have it, but most of the drivers, they look phenomenal with their kits. It is amazing. Ravenkilde already getting a disqualification. That's unfortunate. Right, guys, we are straight up going into the pre-final. Whilst they load, let us quickly run a ad for SimWorld.
Inch? That's all I need. Gentlemen, start your engines.
All right, we are back. We are waiting for our drivers to join the grid. 30 more seconds to go. All of them will probably start popping up onto the grid right now. Lucas Tillman, I believe, was the first one out. Very keen to get onto the grid. Obviously, you'll see the drivers scattered all over the grid right now. They will reshuffle as they start pulling away from the start-finish straight. As the lights go out, they will start reshuffling as per the instructions from the race director. I see Mark Pollard on stream saying, I thought Alex O'Grady was P2. Yes, he is. It just shows you the pace. They literally pretty much where they are expected to be after their practice sessions, I think.
Yeah, so they all just kind of ended up on the grid for where their lap time was. But it is amazing to see how it almost reflects the not quite though, because I mean we've got Alphonse Kiwi down there. We've got quite a few drivers I'd expect to be higher up, not where they should be.
Yeah, wasn't Alphonse the fastest after the practice? Actually, in actual fact, Archie Aaron was the quickest after practice, and then Alphonse.
So not a direct reflection then.
No, doesn't seem like it. Maybe the grid was just completely random because there was no qualifying involved.
Fair enough. Fair enough. That makes perfect sense.
But I guess the game already knew the top 3 drivers.
Seems that way. A bit of a gap here on the warm-up lap. Why are we also spread out?
Yeah. Now we're gonna have to crawl all the way. I guess this gives the advantage to the guys having to catch up because they're gonna floor it up until the back of these guys, so they're gonna heat those tires up properly.
Yeah. So they're still flat out. These this bunch very slow.
Yeah.
But Tay Stevens and Alex O'Grady, they are from similar camps. Maybe they've done racing together more than once. So I'm sure they follow the same sort of tactic. We saw Alex O'Grady doing this as well. Just making 100% sure it's at walking pace, so nobody can guess when you're going to be getting on the throttle. Look at Alex O'Grady's technique though, on off, on off, on off. So hoping to possibly catch a moment where he is in the throttle and it's time to stay flat. So he's just erging the throttle there. We're waiting to see Tay Stevens. We're going to watch him and see when he accelerates. That'll be the start of this race. We are starting to. Wow, he waited for the last possible minute to accelerate. Alex O'Grady, why is the
hands up, hands up, hands up.
Hands up.
So the rear they weren't caught up. So Tay Stevens, Alex O'Grady wasting a lap basically by going a little bit too quick on the formation lap, and the guys at the back didn't catch up quick enough. I did see a couple of guys spin off in the back, and that's probably because the front runners were just too quick on their formation and the gap was so big. I think they had to reshuffle a little bit towards the back there. But okay, another lap. Oh, there's a big little love tap there from who's that? Heron on Ravenkilder.
So there is why we do the single file thing there, Shan. You explained it to me earlier with the minis.
Yes.
And now we just got a direct view of it. So I think drivers like Kiwi not going to be happy with the fact that he's just lost a lap because of the warm-up lap. So drivers like that need every lap they can get to move up the field. So he's not going to be too chuffed. But it is what it is, and it's the same for everybody. We're going to keep it nice and slow now. Everybody does look bunched up. I can see on the track map.
Much better this time around.
Much better, much closer together. So we should definitely get a start. Let's see if Tay Stevens has learned something from the previous start. I think he left it a little bit too late to get into the loud pedal. And thus Alex O'Grady was able to almost get the move done around the outside before the false start was called. So Tay Stevens hopefully going to be, well, hopefully for him, he's learned from previous start. I think this is his first time on the pole.
With the guys' hands over the radiators. The top guys, all of them.
Trying to get heat in the engines. There we go. Tay Stevens. We wait for him to go. We wait for him to hit the throttle. He's left it late again, just before the line. And that's
big left there from behind.
What a launch for the inside line. This is what I was talking about. Alex O'Grady already down to fourth. He tries to sneak up the inside. He looks like he's forced. I think that is, who is that? 250.
Or 298 off. That's Serenetti out there as well.
So Serenetti off the circuit. We're on board with Frederick at Ravenkilder. We know that he's got pace, but does he have the pace of Tay Stevens? The man we know has the pace of Tay Stevens, Alex O'Grady. He's dropped down to third from that front row start. He managed to do the double apex sneak up the inside from fourth and move himself back up into third ahead of Mika van der Pavert. And behind that, just having a look-see, Alex O'Grady all over the back of Frederick Ravenkilder. It's going to be close enough down onto the main straight. Now, we've still got the double right to go. It's not much of a braking zone, so I don't expect him to lose much time. He's got the run already. Wow. And it looks like Frederick just bailed right out of that. He wasn't having any of that fight with Alex O'Grady, but now he's stuck with Mika van der Pavert going down the inside. Has he got it done?
Kyle, Lucas in 7th.
Does have it done.
Lucas in 7th.
Looking in who's 7th? No.
From 18th on the grid.
He's not the inside already. Oh, it's a late lunge. Volker Fagerlund was like, okay, cool, I'm out your way, boss. I see you coming. Hands up to say sorry. But he saw that number 1 plate coming and just opened the door wide. Wow. And that's around Alphonse Kiwi. He's already behind Adam Nudge.
Amazing
Alphonse
start from Kiwi.
Oh, this is going to be a move again. It looks like it's close. No, not quite close enough just yet. We need to stay with this man. He is on an absolute move. He's going to come out through onto this last sector. Like I say, this left, right, not much of a corner. So I don't know how much time he can make up. He's gotten out of there well.
Like.
Down the main straight we go. Let's see what the top end's like. It looks like he's gone short to make sure he's got enough legs through this sector to get past it done.
Yeah,
let's see if we are right. He's in the infield now. He has that long sweeping left into the right. We saw him make a pass there the lap earlier. Through the left. We're going to go for the right now. Is he doing it? Not quite close enough just yet. So Alphonse Kiwi, his pace is now starting to be matched by the drivers he's in terms of group. So Adam Nudge, quite quick. We know that. But Alphonse Kiwi is better through that chicane. He was more aggressive with the curves. But there's no pass on. Just there it is. Down the inside he goes. Good move from Kiwi. He was good out of that chicane. He set it up 2 corners previous. And now he's passed on Adam Nudge. Adam Nudge thinking to himself, maybe I must just push on. Mika van der Pavert and Archie Heron, Frederik Ravenkulder, they're all over each other here in that 3rd, 4th, and 5th battle. Alex O'Grady is still chasing down. Why is Alex O'Grady behind Tay Stevens? So Tay Stevens, Archie Heron down the inside there of Mika. He's got them. Oh, something going on behind there. It looked like Frederik Ravenkulder has lost it. So
we lost Kiwi. What did I see?
We've lost No, Kiwi is up in the 3rd.
Yes. No, look where he is. He's far back. He fell. He
Kiwi and Frederik Red. Whoa, big send down the inside from Francesco
He's got a
Contini.
nose cone as well. Push back.
So Alphonse Kiwi not having it all his own way. It was Frederik Ravenkulder I saw lose it. So I don't know if that's where Kiwi got caught up. He might have ended up in the side of Frederik. So Alphonse Kiwi right down the order. Oh, full send. And there goes Francesco. Maybe a bit of frustration there from Alphonse Kiwi, but it was a full send move. What I'm interested in seeing is Tay Steven has taken... Oh, he was still in the lead.
Yeah, he was in the lead.
Apologies. Got my brain together there. Alex O'Grady being in the front so often that I'm almost... Oh, Ben Lee getting absolutely swapped by Adam Nudge. So Adam Nudge also involved in that incident with Frederik Ravenkulder. So the 3 of them taken out into turn 1.
Nose cone.
So I think Frederik Ravenkulder might have lost it into that turn 1 and 2 complex. And these two, Adam Nudge and Alphonse Kiwi, ran right into it. And that's, full send on the inside. Send. Walter Morga losing 2 places to Ben Lee and now 30. A little bit of I think a nudge on there from Frederik, and Walter Morga is all of a sudden facing the wrong direction.
That's unfortunate.
That Nico Rosberg-esque helmet design, unfortunately, I think that's unfortunate. That was in a straight line. Suddenly he's facing the wrong direction. Not sure what happened there, but Alex O'Grady, though, in the meantime, has closed that gap to Tay Stevens. We saw these two fight it out in one of the heat races a couple of
here we go. Straight
on the inside. He's
not holding back. Wow.
Well, not a full send. He had the run on him. He had the legs to get past. Is Tay Stevens going to stick it down the inside here? He's through the left. I suspect he might have a look. Nope. Thought better
Alex
of it.
O'Grady wasting absolutely no time. As he caught onto the back of him, he sent it. That's crazy. Wow. So good.
Yeah, no.
So clean.
Oh, through the chicane, though, is Tay Stevens.
There's another
he
cut
ran that
into the wall. That's Van der Pavert, I think.
Yeah, Van der Pavert.
Again, yeah.
So we've lost him down the order. Van der Pavert doing well. I think he was in 4th at one stage. But back up to 3rd, though. Archie Heron, 3.2 seconds behind.
Listen, there's
Maybe
a bunch
that's
of...
why Tay Stevens is not pushing on. I mean, Tay Stevens is not attacking. He's pushing on. Because 3.2 seconds behind is Archie Heron.
Yeah, that's true. There's a bunch of nose cones, I believe, behind Archie Heron. I think almost all the carts, from what we've seen, they've got nose cones. So whoever gets within 5 seconds, they will gain a heap of positions. It's crazy because we've seen a lot of bumping behind these guys.
Excuse me. Yeah, correct. We saw a lot of push-in nose cone penalties. I can't believe that KLP now does enforce that. That's pretty cool. There is one. Looking straight at it, you can see the gap between the bib and nose cone. So the first of our nose cone penalties there, Victor Fagerlund. Let's have a look behind him. Anton Carlander. No, that nose seems to be intact, so he's good.
Fluid as well.
One position for him. No, Fluid's in. Yon in.
They're all good.
Are we sure? I'm having a look at that shadow between the bib and the nose cone.
No, there's a slight overlap there, but that's fine. So I'll show you the difference here. Alphonse Kiwi, look at his. He's got a dent on the front, and
there we go.
A lot more.
I see it. I see it. So Alphonse Kiwi, he's past Ben Lee. and Adam Nudge. But,
now he needs to build the biggest possible gap in the next 3 laps.
It's going to be difficult for him to get to the front and do that. So Alphonse Kiwi, his final all but run. It's the 3 in front though. Alex O'Grady and Tay Stevens. I say 3. Archie Heron still 3.1 seconds behind. So it's going to be Alex O'Grady and Tay Stevens at the moment with 3 laps left to go. Lucas Sturman
in 14th.
He's in 14th at the moment. Not a bad final from him. A winner in the OKL South African Series. And more importantly, Shan, no nose cone for him at the moment.
Yeah, so he can
there's going to be a lot of spots there for him. Tay Stevens.
But there's a big gap between 227. What's that? 227. The last of the pack, and everybody behind him. The 246.
Francesco, and then after that, Mika van der Pavet.
Lucas Sturman. Lucas Sturman's a bit far behind to gain from all these time penalties.
Oh, that's unfortunate. So, we've got a retirement. Kevin Wilkholm. He's retired from this pre-final.
First retired driver. That's quite impressive, actually.
Yeah, with 2 laps left to go.
Oh, he's very far down the order. Your Serenity
23rd.
not having it his way.
Look, this is just the superheat. There is still the final to go. And as we've seen in this race, a lot can happen. But we do have the front 2 break away, as we thought we were going to, because of the battling behind them. Tay Stevens all over the back of Alex O'Grady. We're heading into the penultimate lap now. So if Tay Stevens was going to attack, this is probably where he would start looking. Nope, he's still pushing on at the moment. So not quite ready to start moving just yet. He's leaving it all, if he does want to take a win here, for the last lap. We saw how difficult it is to start on the outside of this track. So Tay Stevens will definitely be wanting to get that win. You don't want to end up starting on the outside row, as we saw Alex O'Grady fall down the order. He was aggressive enough, though, to keep himself inside the top 3. But it's a lot of hard work, unnecessary hard work to do on the opening lap when starting on pole is going to make sure that doesn't happen for you. So Tay Stevens, right now, just sitting behind Alex O'Grady. Alex O'Grady knows that. He's not making any means or ways to defend it. These two out of the, I think, the same stable, Shan, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, CV Performance Group Esports, arguably the best sim racing team in kart racing pro at the moment.
Oh, here it starts. Alex O'Grady, they knew it at the start of the last lap. Alex O'Grady instantly goes defensive. So he knew straight away this is what it's about. It's all down to the last lap between these two. They've kept it nose to tail the whole race. Alex O'Grady, quick move down the inside to take the lead. He's defensive again into the hairpin. That's going to ruin his drive. We've got another straight just ahead of us now as they go down the back. Alex O'Grady going deep to the inside. Tay Stevens looking for the outside, but it's that chicane. You don't want to run wide here. Tay Stevens got the run. He's definitely got a run. He's close enough to have the look down the inside. He decides against it.
Nah, he lost it
up for later in the lap. He went for the outside quite late, so I think that's why it looked like he pushed it wide. But that decision made late, and that's given the victory in the superheat to Alex O'Grady. He's one step closer to making it. The run onto the line is good enough. They're going to run it to the line, though. Alex O'Grady does take it. I started talking myself ahead of myself there, and then remembered we've seen the cutback work very, very well over the start-finish line, but it's Alex O'Grady with the best start for the final. Tay Stevens in second. Archie Heron comes home in third. Wilco Fagerlund in fourth. Bearing in mind, guys, this is without us taking into consideration the drop-down nose penalties. Jake Fluitt in fifth. Anton Carlander in sixth. Ben Lee in seventh. William Younhill in eighth. Francesca Cartini in ninth. And Alphonse Kiwi, last year's champion, sitting in 10th place, rounding out the top 10 in the superheat.
Yeah, but 5 second penalty is what he's going to get, and it also depends on the amount of drivers around him that's got the penalty. If we just look based off where he is now, that's going to put him back down into, what's that, 15th, 14th place. So a lot of work to do again, and he's going to hope that most of the drivers behind him's got time penalties. Otherwise, it's a big ask, because if we look at the pace from O'Grady and Stevens, and even Archie Heron kept that 3 second gap pretty much throughout the race, though. So Heron's got the pace, and he's got the inside line into turn 1 on the start in P3. So was that a strategic move by Heron, not wanting to fight them after he already realized he's not going to really, it's not worth it? Because P3, that's a good starting position into turn 1, Kyle. Turn 1 and 2. Oh, the boys are going to come for an interview, by the way. You'll see them parking their carts perfectly. And then we will just do this. Look at how beautiful that is. And I will freeze them like that. Carl, do we still have you? Have we lost you? Are you muted at the moment?
Shane, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Right. Back. I'm still here. What is that for a view, man? How is that for a view? Our top three in that super heat: Alex O'Grady, Tay Stevens, and Archie Heron, all waiting for us at the podium for an interview.
Yeah, who will we grab? Let's grab Archie in first because he is in P3. So let's see if we can get him into this channel. Archie, can you unmute? I think I need to give you a role. Give me 1 second.
What are you going to put on that roll? Are you going to put some ham on that roll?
Hey, tip roll. Hey, Archie. Wow.
Hello.
I think you had a pretty lonely race for that latter part of the race there. You were sitting, what, 2.5, 3 seconds behind these boys.
Yeah.
Yeah, talk us through your race. How did that go? How did it feel? That was a max grid.
It was good. Very competitive. Me and Alex both had a bad start, but I had an even worse start. I just got put in a bad position. But I just worked I worked my way through. Well, finished third, so not too bad. I just got to get a good start for the final. But some of the contact, I think, was just netcode, I think. But other than that, I think the race went well. I had good pace, but slipstream is just so much around here.
Yeah, I was having a look at that start, Archie. It looked like the outside row never seems to get away as well as the inside row, especially here at Genk. And then into that first double right complex, you kind of left out to dry on the outside. Is that what you experienced in the start of the super heat?
Yeah. I got pushed off on the left as well, which gave me a second penalty, which didn't help. But yeah, the whole left-hand side didn't get a good start, which kind of messed us up from the start. But if we can fix that, we'll be all right.
Well, it's not something you have to concern yourself with now because you're on an inside row start. So hopefully you can get a better run into turn number 1.
Yeah.
Well, Archie, we'll let you go. We'll let you take a couple minutes worth of relaxing before you guys get into your final. Good luck. Certainly the pace seems to be there as long as you can stay in the slip, right? So yeah, good luck, and we'll see you in the final.
Thank you.
All right, we'll go over to Tace Stevens. Let me just there we go. Tace, welcome to the commentator's booth. Well done, good race. You pretty much had it your way in the start. You broke away nicely. But as soon as Alex caught you, he just sent it hard, and you guys were, I think the stars of this heat. Talk us through your race. How did that feel?
Yeah, the start was really good. I got a good push from behind, so I was gone. But I knew Alex was faster, and yeah, I knew he was coming for me. So I didn't defend. I just want to follow him and maybe try it on the last lap to overtake him, but yeah, didn't work. But happy with the P2.
Yeah, I'd say so. I was watching that race with Alex O'Grady. He did catch up to you. You could see there was no need for you to defend. You just wanted to follow on and keep yourself well away from the chasing Archie Heron. I mean, we know the pace that he's got. So the two of you worked well together. You could almost see as Alex O'Grady crossed the start-finish line to start the final lap, he was instantly defensive. It's probably going to be very similar in the final. Hopefully, for us, from spectators' point of view, we're going to see all three of you battle it out. But you've learned from Alex's defensive tactics in the super heat. Do you have something up your sleeve for the final?
I mean, I just trying to get a clean start, and just to, in the first couple left, just to try to stick with the top 3 and just fight the wall race to the P1.
Yeah, fantastic. That sounds like a great plan. You've got the issue that you do have is we've seen the left-hand side row, Archie Heron also speaking about it. The outside row doesn't really, throughout this whole event, hasn't really gotten a great launch off the line and always seems to fall down into the pack. Is that something you're concerned about in the final?
Yeah, I mean, the outside row at Gank is really sketchy because on the first corner, it's really tight. So, everyone on the inside that goes like a bit off goes to the outside. So, I just need to get a really good start and yeah, don't get caught up in crashes or something like that.
Yeah, I think your first tactic would be try to get as inside as early as possible. Once those lights go out, hope for a gap and sneak into the inside. But we wish you all the best for your final. It was absolutely awesome to watch the two of you work together like that and try and, a good clean race for the last lap with some good defensive driving from Alex. And it was nice to see you try and find a way past. And hopefully we see more than a final. We wish you all the best.
Yep, thank you.
All right, we've got there we go. Alex O'Grady once more with a phenomenal comeback, because I can't say it was a phenomenal start. Obviously, it was a bit shaky there in the beginning, but you had a lot to do. You came through the field very, very nicely and very clean. And, you had to send it down the inside of your teammate. What was the thought process? I'm assuming you just wanted to get into P1 for that inside starting line in the final.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, starting on the inside here is so much better than the outside. Like, I'd rather start P5 than P2 because it seems every time the inside row gets such a good launch. And also, if you're on the outside on T1 at the start, it's so easy to get pushed off and get a 1 second time penalty and lose positions. So it's just really not ideal starting on the outside. And I was kind of lucky at the start. I managed to get to the inside and get into P3, then P2, and then I chased down Tees for the lead. But yeah, I'm looking forward to the final now. I'm starting pole, so it should be much easier.
Alex, you're putting down that turn one move at the start to the luck of the Irish, but it definitely wasn't. It was really, really aggressive, good driving. I mean, I saw you end up on the outside on the first apex, and as soon as that cart came past you, you instantly made the decision to switch it onto the inside. And I think that was your saving grace, going from fourth back up to P3 and making it a bit easier for yourself to get onto the lead. But once you were in that lead, it looked like you kind of you had it handled. You definitely had the pace. Winning is something you've been doing over the last couple of days with quite ease. The one thing I do want to talk to you about is Tay Stevens, teammate of yours, out of the same stable. You could see there was some sort of conversation beforehand, the way you guys worked together throughout that final, through that pre-final. But going into the final, obviously all for yourself and head down and going. Your plan, get to the front and pull a gap?
Well, yeah, the main plan is just to make sure I'm P1 coming out of turn one and then try and pull away. But it's going to be very difficult because I think I've Archie behind me, so he will probably end up in P2 off the start, and then he should be able to keep up with me. And I think Tees as well will be really quick. He should be able to get into P3, I think. So us three, I think, have been the fastest the whole event, and it's going to be really close. So yeah, looking forward to it.
That's definitely something we've been saying throughout in the commentary, that we were looking forward to the three of you battling it out. So to all three of you, wishing you all the best through that tricky Genk turn one. And we will see, hopefully, most of you, if not yourself, Alex, here after the final.
Yep, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, Alex. Good luck. All right, Kyle. Wow. I didn't think it's possible. I didn't think it was possible at all for us to have more exciting racing than what we saw in that mini event. My word, but these guys came out, they came guns blazing. It was full out attack and everything was left on that track. I don't think there's any driver that came off that track and said, "Oh, I could have done more." At least that top 6, because that was really intense. There was so much battling, all the way through the pack. And is it possible for one of the other guys further down the field, like I'd like to say it, a dark horse coming through and pulling one over the likes of Alex, Tace, or Archie? Is it even possible? Because the pace, wow.
Look, we're saying this, that these three, look, they were very much in a league of their own, but we had a look at Kiwi in the first couple of laps, and he was right up there. It's not like he was far off the lead pack. He was down in 10th, but it was down in 7th, sorry. And it was at the end of the first or second lap, he was already there. So to say, that he could do it and could get there, I definitely think so. We must bear in mind, and I do have to keep reminding myself this, because from fifth downwards, it definitely didn't look like a pre-final. It looked like the final. But judging by the way these, Alex O'Grady and Tay Stevens drove the pre-final, the superheat, and Archie Heron kind of settling into his rhythm and keeping it together, I don't think that's going to be the status quo in the final. I think we're going to see racing from lap 1 to get to the front. So, that could work into the hands of drivers like Alphonse Kiwi, Adam Nudge, who we saw drop down. We've obviously got Alessandro Serenetti quite far down the grid as well. There are drivers that we can expect to move forward, that should move forward. We know the pace that they've got. Our top 3 have been the fastest all weekend. That's why we assume, judging by the statistics and the facts, and if I was a betting man, those would be the 3 that I would bet on. Yeah. But this is karting, this is motorsports, and anything can change on the black stuff. There's 24 drivers all fighting to move their way up to the front. There can only be, 22 tonight. There can only be 1 winner and 21 losers.
23,
so
actually.
23,
one of them came in late.
23.
One of them came in late, and they are there, so probably going to start at the back. Yeah, Carl, I agree. I mean, it's anyone's game, really, but like you said, if you were a betting man, those top 3 guys, it could be any one of them. But we could possibly see somebody come through here. We saw the likes of, who was it, Milal yesterday, that he was fighting up front for one of those heats. We saw Alphonse Kiwi with a lightning start in this pre-final. Unfortunately, not having its way throughout the race, but he can. It's definitely possible.
And also the Alphonse Kiwi incident, not a pass, not a mistake, from his side. It was an error in front of him that I think he ran into, judging by what we saw going into that turn 1. So, if he does keep moving that way, and we do expect the front to be a bit more heated this time, drivers in the front wanting to stay in the front, so there should be a little bit more movement in the final. I don't think we're going to see a lot of push on. Maybe I'm proven wrong, and the 3, Archie Heron, Alex O'Grady, and Tay Stevens, decide that the 3 of them running off into the front is what's good for them. This remains to be seen. But if they do trip over each other, Alphonse Kiwi is a man that I expect to be up there, and Alessandro Serenetti as well, already in practice, quickest with a 53.6.
Yeah, the only concern I have for Serenetti is he's pretty much right at the back of the pack, and you don't want to be starting there. Not even mid pack. You want to be up at least into the top 6, top 8 at the very furthest down the grid, if you want to have a half clean start to get through the pack. But it is possible. We've seen it. We just need the drivers to, keep it clean, keep their noses out of any form of trouble, and the racing can be super, super exciting. The racing was exciting. My word, I couldn't believe how close Stevens and O'Grady were racing on track. They were battling for such a long time. Stevens said, he knew he didn't have he knew O'Grady was faster, but he hung on there to see if he could potentially sneak one in down the inside on the last lap. O'Grady was having none of that, that's for sure. But I'm excited for this final. We're probably going to wait another couple more minutes for the stewards. I'm assuming they've got a heap of incidents to run through.
Yeah, so they've got to put together this grid for the final. You mentioned these drivers in particular keeping it neat and tidy. I don't think it's not a condition of these drivers keeping it neat and tidy. What it is a condition of is 24 of the same drivers who do this weekend in and weekend out, either on the sim or in IRL. They want to get through. They have an idea of how to get through turn 1. And when 24 drivers are that close together, it takes one little movement left or right.
Yeah.
And suddenly what would have been a 15-car train moving onto the first lap turns into the split of 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 carts with a bit of gap between them. And we've seen it, Genk, how much that slipstream matters and how difficult it is unless all of the carts in that train work together to catch the train in front. So if we don't see a mix-up into turn 1 and everybody gets through there neat and tidy and kind of files into line of stern quite quickly, and a few movements mid-pack, Alphonse getting into the top 10 in the first lap, if that top 10 is still close together, it's definitely, he stands a good chance of moving through the field. We've seen how quickly he can make passes.
Yeah, that's for sure. I'm excited. I'm so excited. I'm sitting here on stream, on the spectator seat, on Genk, just watching all these cards getting their final bit of practice. Okay, what was that? Just randomly moved towards a different driver. I was spectating. Yeah, just sitting here in the grandstand at Genk, watching the cards come by, getting their final laps of practice in before they go to the final. I wonder if there's going to be a final bit of setup changes. This is the only time you can do it now. Normally, you'd go to the pit, you'd sit there, you make a change, and you won't know if that will give you what you need. These guys got an extra couple minutes worth of practice while the stewards are working through the incidents. Will we see a change of gears? Will we see a change of strategy from the likes of O'Grady, who now has the inside line and possibly just needs to defend and not go through the field? Of course, the previous heat, he started in P2, but he lost a lot of positions, and he probably factored that in when he got his setup loaded for this pre-final, because he knew starting in P2, I will most likely lose a couple positions because of how strong that inside lane is. So I wonder.
Yeah, I think Tay Stevens, though, he looks so comfortable in his pace, though. He seems to say he doesn't have the pace of Alex O'Grady. I don't think anybody out in the front of this circuit at Genk with a small gap is going to be the pace of the chasing carts. The slipstream and the power of that slip seems so big here in Genk that if you are the chasing cart, you get within a second, it's just going to suck you right in anyway. Yeah. So he seems comfortable in the pace that he can run. He knows he can catch onto the back of those in front of him. So maybe not make a big change now. It's the final. You've been strong all weekend. Or so we say weekend, but obviously all week. Starting, big send on the inside there. That's not what we want to see in the final. But, you know, do I make a change now? I've been so strong for the last couple of nights. Is it worth my while to go look for that golden nugget? Am I chasing ghosts? Or just stick with what I know, stick with what I've driven, stick with what I can be consistent with, and off I go. I don't have to worry about the cart being any different. I can just focus on the racing and the job at hand.
We got another practice session. Sorry, I just got a note here on the side screen from the stewards, or the race director, Scotty Briscoe. Just look how beautiful this is, Kyle. Let's look at this. All the carts lined up perfectly. They're going to have another practice session, another 10 more minutes, or maybe not that long. They've got a lot of incidents to work through, because we need to make sure that the correct drivers are starting in the slots they are meant to start. Last thing we want is for a guy to get who's supposed to have a 5-second penalty, start 5 seconds ahead of everybody else, you know. So we'll see. Let's see what's happening here. I just want to check here. Right, so yeah, sorry, off screen, race directors keeping me updated. We're going to give them another practice session. Hopefully we'll get going very, very soon. Like I said, we don't want any drivers out of position. Everybody gets a penalty. Well, not everybody, but whoever is supposed to get a penalty will get penalties, because they're going to follow the rule book. And we can't play the game of it was unfair. The admins look at exactly what happens. Every driver is a separate incident. They don't look at a driver saying, oh, this is a Max Verstappen, we know he causes a lot of problems. No, every incident looks at a separate, well, incident or case-by-case basis, and if a driver gets a penalty, it would have been a unanimous decision by the stewards, and I think there's 10 of them in total. So a lot of people are reviewing it and are trying to make sure that all the penalties handed out 100% is what it was supposed to be. They're not trying to play in the grey area at all. Kyle? Woo.
Yes,
I'm excited. I can't.
Yeah, I'm just anticipating. I'm actually just going through and reading the comments between the drivers to themselves. That there is a bit of a general chat for us commentators to go steal some information and have a look, and see what's going on here. But yeah, it really is something I didn't expect to have this level of excitement, have this level of anticipation to it. But it does immerse you. It does put you in there as if it was a real event. A couple of times during in the commentary booth, I was thinking to myself, drivers must be tired. They've just gotten out the carts. They've run up the stairs to us, and to have a chat after Shan's taken their photo. But it really has been an immersive experience and super, super exciting to see these carts. Some of those shots, Shan, there over the tires. I think we're going to call that a bed of tires from now on because we've seen a couple of carts lying on there having a sleep. As I say it.
You don't want to be standing
Definitely
here,
a
that's for
bed
sure, with
of
the amount of carts that have parked it on top of these tires.
Yeah, no, it's not a sector I would want to park myself.
So I just want to show you guys the level of detail we have in these tires. These are really nice tires.
What's this other one here?
As AAO Cyber tires.
AAO Cyber Tires. There we go.
Really nice tires, guys. Just have to give a shout out to Ruben Carstens, who always, on every OKL track, you'll find some nice Easter eggs. I promise you guys, when you get a OKL membership, go to the tracks, go into free roam and just go fly around. Oh, we've got... Oh, what happened there? Was that me? Oh, that was me freezing up.
That is a Nico Rosberg helmet. Or am I just losing my mind?
Who is that? Another car just popped. That was Ben Lee, right?
No, that was Walter Morga. Walter Morga. Or
No, it's his own.
no, it's not. It's his own. It's very similar. I'm going to get a message from this man now. How dare you compare my helmet to Rosberg? Oh, it's going to come.
Well, it's F1 World Champ, so...
Fair enough. And what other way to do it? Win a world championship and retire. Please, guys, whoever's listening, don't do that. We want to see you back here next year, if you do win it.
100%.
Alex, the guys that we think we can win, Alex, Archie, Tace, hope you're listening. If you do win it, come back next year. Don't pull a Nico Rosberg. But these two Prima carts practicing together, obviously chose the same brand of kart for a reason. I assume they are practicing a little bit too closely together. Bruce Lee and Walter Morga. Behind them, though, with the Bell KC7, the carbon fiber, chose not to go with the spoiler kit.
Ruben Victor, also known as the guy that parked it on top of the chicane set of tires.
And so did his cousin.
So did his cousin, yes. So
Ruben Victor, that is no way to be victorious.
Mark Pollard
This
in the
man's
chat.
standing in the right place.
Mark Pollard in the chat saying that this looks like a Sean Loebscher sitting here. In. Hey guys, I have a little bit more hair than that. Not a lot, but just a little bit.
No, that's me, bro. That's me right there.
And then the man that makes the tracks, Ruben Carstens, put himself in the track.
With an OKL shirt, nogal.
Yeah. Attention to detail, it's vital. And this is I believe the endurance section. And then I think this is our RC track. We're just doing a nice little flyby while we
on
wait.
the left-hand side there's actually a motocross track as well, Shan. You want to look
yep.
at level of detail? So motocross track, I'm not sure why isn't there a gate to get there? There should be a little road, and then you can go and mess around over there. Two tracks for the price of one.
MX bikes.
Two tracks for the price of one. Yeah, two tracks
Technically
for the
three.
price of one.
You can throw it in the
Technically
RC.
three. Yeah.
Excuse me. throw it in the
little
RC game.
run-in track. Call it a run-in. There was definitely RC.
That's
But
where they
level
put
of
the
detail, Shan,
Bambinos.
definitely a sick level. That looks like a rental circuit there. If you go back a bit. The grandstand. There we go. There's the entry, I think, for the rental carts. Look at that.
This is the endurance section, I believe.
So that's probably... Well, this will obviously run the rentals, this sector at the bottom during the week.
Yeah,
when
yeah,
they're
yeah.
racing at the top. And then the endurance sector comes in here, and that's, I assume, where they do their driver changes.
Yeah.
So that is pretty epic in terms of a circuit. I do enjoy that. I like the level of detail, Shannon. Very, very, very good. Hats off to the developers, to you guys, and the man who actually put this track together. A lot of time and effort put into it.
Yeah, that's for sure.
Yeah. But right now, the action is on the...
These two guys are moving around quite a lot, eh? Wow, Ruben's all over the track.
Double checking everything, making sure. Walter Morga going back out on track for this practice session. We are just waiting for the stewards to get the penalties all sorted out. We want the decisions to be right, hence why we are happy to just hang out and wait for that to come through. It is very important to us at OKL to make sure it is fair and transparent. We don't want to... We will obviously upset... There will be the odd driver that gets upset by it, but as long as it's consistent and the same for everyone,
Yeah,
it will stand to grow this racing, this form of racing. But Shan,
Yep.
this is the second of this iteration of the OKL World Finals. and I can only imagine it'll grow from strength to strength from here.
Yeah,
All
that's
these
for sure.
drivers putting in lots and lots of effort. We've got the OKL South African Series, OKL African Series, as well as the European Championship. And Shan, a couple of once-off events throughout the season, I'm sure, as well.
Yeah, we are busy having a good chat with Motorsport South Africa. You know, the African Cup that was run this year in the karting space at Swartkops. We are busy working on a potential 45-minute endurance African one-off event, which will be hopefully very cool. We also want to do 1 or 2 endurance races throughout the year, and hopefully build on a full-blown endurance league.
Well, if we're going to talk, we just spoke. Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you, Shan, with a train of thought in my head here. We spoke about the endurance track here at Genk and the driver changing section. Is that something that could happen in KLP, or would that be something that would have to be developed?
Not yet. Driver changes not a thing in KRP. Pit stops not a thing. So how we do this is I've already developed a little bit of a method that we've tested a couple times throughout this year. We do a 55-minute practice session, we did a 55-minute practice session. We wait for 5 minutes. Oh, not 5 minutes. We wait about 2-3 minutes. We go to the grid. We park our carts on the grid. And as soon as the timer hits 50 on the countdown, we start racing. And that's the only way we can do endurance. With the Tillotson, you can pretty much run an hour without refilling them in KRP. So if you flip your cart, you have like a penalty system. You can go back to pit. You have to wait a minute or 2 minutes. Then you can come out again and you can start racing. The driver with the most laps by the end of that 50 minutes, that is the winner of the race.
Now, silly question, and you can shut me down on this. We saw that area where the carts were on their trolleys, all beautiful and pretty. We saw the little drive-through there. Could you not jump on the server, drive to the drive-through, and your teammate come in behind you, and when he's in behind you, you can leave and join the circuit?
That is something that I have thought about. Potentially 2 drivers joining. The only concern is the amount of drivers that can go to the track. So if you've got 30 grid slots, which on this track is the most that we have at the moment, that means you're going to have 60 carts loading to the server. And you don't want to be running an endurance race with only 15 carts on track, right?
If you've got 20 carts on the grid, that leaves you 10 slots. So if there's guys jumping onto the server to do a pit stop, then if those 10 slots are full, those 10 slots are full. The pit lane's full, you can't stop. Pit lane is closed.
Yeah,
until such time
the only a nightmare with that will be making sure you add the laps up correctly, I guess. Which, the nightmare, that's the admin's problem. Not necessarily the drivers, but yeah.
Let's not make admin's problem the driver's problem. Come now, we want it to be as realistic as possible.
Sure.
But Shan, we could talk through all these ideas as we go along into the new season. But you know what's exciting is that there are these ideas, and guys, Shan is always happy to receive emails. I'm sure, Shan, with questions.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Questions and suggestions how to make it better. Obviously, I'm very keen to be more involved. Good news, Stewards have made decisions. Practice is over, and we are ready for...
No, let's see.
No.
Announcements. Reviews done, just filling the sheets. All right, there we go.
There we go.
So
cool.
The next couple minutes, we're going to start going. The one thing I am having a slight giggle about is... Hold on. Ooh. They're going to have to reset the server. Because...
I see this race director, Scotty Briscoe.
Ejected. That means he won't be able to come back.
Oh, no.
All right, so I guess it would have been the same for Leviwe Sambudla as well. So, all right. They're probably just going to reset the server then, and then we get going.
Yeah, sorry, guys. Eskom, power failure. We were just going to reset the timing system. No, that was just a real world. It's iteration there, a little comparison real world wise. Shannon, you still with me, or have you left me?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. Fantastic. Just making sure. So a couple of minutes and we should go back racing. Obviously, we just have to wait for a new server to pop up and we can get our race director and our Stuart back in. Stuart, we are restarting the server. Thank you very much. So everybody will be leaving. including us. Bye, server. And we should be back shortly once the server is restarted.
Yeah, it should be quite quick. It's just getting the drivers back in there. We'll get going.
So, Shan, this is on the stream as we speak, this menu.
Yes.
And this is, for those of you who don't know, don't have a KLP and aren't involved. I saw Zaire Hesse asking a question on Facebook about this. This is the KLP sim, and this is where you would load into your OKLA servers. All of these servers available to you on your membership. So when you do purchase your membership, you get access to these servers. And Shannon and I having a long conversation when we were prepping for tonight's final about, using this more as a tool, and it does work quite well for driver coaches and drivers alike. You can hop on at any time on any of the circuits that you know and do a few extra laps than what you would do normally. Tires are expensive, engines are expensive, karting is not cheap, so the laps we know make a difference. So the more seat time, the better. So you can always hop onto one of these servers and do a couple of extra laps to make sure you're up and ready for your next event.
Yeah,
Shannon,
just need to
World Final.
reboot the server there because I don't think the admins have rebooted it. So I'm quickly doing that myself.
I do see an OKL World Final server there.
Yeah, but there was people on there.
Ah, right, okay.
So not ideal.
So Shan, not only in the commentary box, he's also making sure that everything works in terms of the racing as well. But we can see already one driver there having a few laps at Frenichen. Season's all done and dusted pretty much there already, but just getting a few extra laps in before anybody else does. Been able to rain around about here in SA, so a perfect time to use the sim as opposed to IRL, getting wet and possibly getting sick before festive season. Nobody wants to do that.
Yeah, for sure.
And into the new server we are.
All right.
Shan, how many laps of this final can we expect?
It will be 18 plus 1. So so that's 19 laps on screen, 18 racing laps. Obviously, if they have to restart the formation lap again, then it's -1. But here we go, guys. The very unfortunate and very sad news, they have just lost all their rubber. So I'm wondering,
track for the final.
So I'm wondering if the steward or the race director, Scotty, will give them 10 minutes to just lay down a little bit of rubber.
No, I hope not.
But that also throws the setups off, right?
Let's throw a spanner in the works and let's see who can. It's a long race. We'll put rubber down over the race, I'm sure. So let's see them have a spanner in the works. Let's see them adapt. Let's see them make changes to their driving style, to their lines. They've all been on green circuits. They've all been the first ones out in practice, so I'm sure they can all handle it. Let's throw what we can at the best 23 drivers in KLP at the moment. The 23 that were able to make it into this world final. Obviously, there were a few guys that had previous commitments, traveling around the world with karting, a few other things they needed to do that couldn't quite put the time to it. And nobody wants to come to an event like this unless you can put the time to it and show your best against these other 23 drivers. They are top of the top of the drivers in KLP, so you don't want to come here not putting the time and effort into it. We do understand why some drivers couldn't make it, but hopefully for next year you can. Jan, making sure that this world final is as close to the end of the year as possible. We don't overlap with any of the major events or races going on around the world. And of course, locally.
One of our admins has joined as a driver. Dan Shaw, well done. That's going to take a number away from Alphonse Kiwi, I believe. I see Scotty typing in announcements. So we'll get our grid now, I'm assuming. All right. Ooh. Talk about a spanner in the works, guys. I've got some very bad news, actually.
Oh, no.
A couple of the drivers. So,
Alphonse
Kiwi and Mika van the Puffert has received a disqualification.
Oh no. Not only that though, Shan. So besides Alphonse Kiwi and making fun of Pavitt, taking those DQs, have a look in 12th place.
Archie Heron.
So
Ooh.
Archie Heron, who we thought would be starting third on the grid, who he thought would be starting third on the grid provisionally before the penalties, will now be starting down in 12th place in the final of the OKL World Finals. So Archie Heron taking a penalty somewhere, and that dropping him well down the order, just in front of Adam Nudge. So two drivers that we know have pace, very far down the order. Alessandro Serenetti, he could only manage 18th, but he has been a bit lucky. He's gained a couple of spots, especially from Alphonse Kiwi and Mika van der Pavitt.
Yeah, so let's quickly run through the starting grid. Starting on P1 will be Alex O'Grady, and right next to him, Tay Stevens, but pretty much where they finished. Then Feelgood Fagerlund, the beneficiary of, was it benefactor, from Archie Heron's penalty in 3rd place. Then Ben Lee in 4th, Jake Fluid in 5th, Anton Carlander in 6th place, William Yoniel in 7th, Francesco Cartini in 8th place, Arvid Jung in 9th, Frederick Wald in 10th place, Frederick Ravenkilde in 11th, Archie Heron. Oof, I'm very sad for Archie at the moment. In 12th place, he's got a lot of work to do. 13th will be Adam Nudge, who's also out of place in my opinion. Ellis Beatty in 14th place, Walter Morgan in 15th, Alwyn Palmquist in 16th, Ruben Victor 17th. In 19th place, we'll have Alessandro Serenetti, and 18th rather. Kevin Wickholm in 19th. Lucas Sturman far down the order in 20th place. So he's also, I think, also got some penalties. Oscar Polsberg in 21st, and then Malcolm Hillel, there's no number next to his name, but I'm assuming he's in 22nd, unless he also got a DQ. And then really,
No, I don't think he didn't start the pre-final, that's why.
All right. And I'm very, very sad for both Alphonse Kiwi and Mika van der Pavitt, who has been disqualified from the final.
It'll be interesting to see, or interesting to know what those penalties were for and what happened. But another driver that we just scanned over as we were going through here, which was Ben Lee. And I said he was going to have to, I was going to say he would have to channel his inner Bruce Lee in the pre-final to work his way up the order. And he has in fact done that, because I think he was in the 20s in the start of the pre-final, and now up in that 4th place. So great moving from Ben Lee and Jake Fluid. We saw him actually retire from a heat race. So Jake Fluid able to turn around what was a dismal round of heats into a 3rd row start in the final.
Yeah, that's Jake Fluid definitely in some prime real estate there on the starting grid, compared to where you would have expected to be after all these heats. I see here in our Discord chat Alphonse starting with the chant that happened last year, hashtag free Alphonse. When he missed one of the heats, I believe, as well. And here we go again, free Alphonse. My word, I am so... Oh, man,
but another driver that's quietly done what he needed to do was Anton Carlander. We haven't seen a lot of him.
Yeah.
But there he is on the 3rd row, 6th in the final. He's been quiet and quietly doing the business there to make sure he's well up the order. It looks like our race director doesn't agree with me. He's not going to throw a spanner on the works. He's going to let them do a little bit of practice.
Yeah. There we go. There comes the free Alphonse spam in the YouTube channel. And we'll allow that because it happened last year as well. Although that happened in a heat more than a... Oh, what's happening there? A bit of a lag spike.
There it is. And a lot of people jumping on the bandwagon. It was started by Frederick. It's been continued by Antonson. And now we've got a few other people jumping on board with the hashtag Free Alphonse. Gents, ladies and gents, if you want to chant Free Alphonse, hashtag Free Alphonse, why don't you copy the link out of YouTube, go onto your Facebook or your Instagram, and hit a hashtag free Alphonse, but make sure you share the link as well. So Alphonse can get some extra support from people around the world watching your socials. And maybe we can get a few more likes and links and clicks on the YouTube channel. The more, the more we get that YouTube channel out there, the stream out there, the more of a platform we have to market and advertise this. And maybe, Shan, obviously, if we can get some bigger sponsors and some money prizes on board and try and entice some more drivers to come join us with possibly a big prize at the end of it. So, guys, make sure you go share this stream everywhere you possibly can. Let's show off what we are doing here and trying to change the attitude behind KRP and turn this into one of the more popular sim leagues out there worldwide.
Yeah, 100%. Definitely one of the more popular karting communities out there when it comes to the live streams. There's quite some big KRP communities out there, but they don't necessarily run live streams, so no hate towards any of the other communities. But we're definitely trying to change the dynamic of KRP and, add a level of professionalism and, build some nice production around it and give the drivers more airtime. Something for their socials. They're not only dominating real world or having fun in the real world karting world, but they...
Oh, there's a grip roll.
So I can confirm the grip is back.
Well, the one thing that I'd like to put out there is this is obviously for the entire KRP community as a whole. Let's get it out there that this is a great platform to use and create a series. And who knows, maybe OKL and a few other series we could see us all competing against each other. Wouldn't that be something? Have a few series around the world and let's all compete together. Archie Heron eager to get going. He knows he's got to start way down. So he wants to get himself on the grid. Oscar Paulsberg in that energy. He's been up and down all week, sometimes inside the top 10, sometimes not. Reminds me of that TikTok reel. Sometimes maybe good. I won't say the rest of it.
Listen, on the note of building a good community, the vital part for us is to show the likes of the FIA that this can be a professional setup. The only way you do that is by showing them the numbers. And when I say numbers, not necessarily the stream, that is an important factor, but the drivers entering from the different countries across the world. And the only way we can do that is by having events like this run. I have already had discussions with the FIA, and there is no official esports documentation, how to get involved with the FIA for karting specifically in the esports scene. So there will be ongoing discussions in the next year, and we will push, and try and get something going with the FIA. The first prerequisite the FIA had when we started chatting to them is we need to work with the local ASNs. And we've done that. We've started with Motorsports South Africa. That was the first one we got on board. We will be working with the likes of Motorsports Namibia, Motorsports Mozambique, because we have their tracks. We have something for them.
Yeah, the ATCM and such.
Yeah, I've had informal discussions with Motorsports UK already. So, there's movement. There's a lot of work. There's a lot of paperwork that goes into this. So we're working very hard to get this going. We're already on the start sequence, guys. We are ready to get going. But like I said, share this all over the world, even after today. Share with your friends that this is the stuff we can do, and then we can bring a bigger and better kart racing pro out there. And the only way we get the likes of Barbosa, who's the developer of this sim, to get really serious about this is that when we throw the numbers at him. So
yeah, we want to see as many of these KRP guys that use the sim and that are out there, that are registered, that are racing. Get as many of them as we can into events. And who knows, maybe we see a couple of intercontinental events, not only just a world final. We can grow this into something that can showcase what the sim world can offer. We've seen a lot of it worldwide. Sim racing becoming more and more popular. Let's why not have karting? It's always been, one of the most fair aspects of motorsport. Not sure what Alex O'Grady's arm is doing there. Just check it. I think he's pinching the fuel line. That's what he's doing. Pinching the fuel line, starving the car to fuel. So when he gets on the power, it does get going very quickly. He's just waiting for the rest of the field to bunch up. 271. That is Fjölgr
Fagerlund.
Fagerlund getting into position there. Great
Here we
starting
go.
position from him. Alex O'Grady just signaling behind him that we are all ready.
This is the final. Here we go, guys. Tramlines, we are reaching it now. We're going to get going. Kyle, I'll leave the start to you.
We've had 3 days of heat races and pre-finals. It all comes down to this, though. They're in their tramlines. Alex O'Grady getting ready to get this final underway. He's been talking about how good the inside line is. Is it going to be good now? It's the final. We are going, and Alex O'Grady has had the best possible start he could. Fjölgr Fagerlund's up there into that second place. But have a look there. It's the yellow helmets. Oh, who's that? Tay Stevens forcing his way back up into third. That's Fluid I was talking about, moving his way up into fourth. And he almost fell victim to, I couldn't see who that was behind him, but Tay Stevens not messing around. He wants to get onto the back bumper of Alex O'Grady. He knows the pace that Alex O'Grady has. Oh, they're side by side through the chicane. That could have been all kinds of ugly. Fluid is all over the back of Fjölgr Fagerlund. He's had to move. He's made it done, and here comes William Yoniel. We haven't seen him since the heat races. He's had to work his way back up the field, and back up the field he is into that, I think that's fifth place behind...
Oh, he gets all kinds of wrong there.
Up the inside, Ben Lee. The Ben Lee, Bruce Lee having a fight, and he's lost out there to Fjölgr Fagerlund.
Carlander.
And Carlander, he was quiet before. He's changed his mind now, though. Now he's loud. Here comes Frederick Wold. These drivers are still very close together. And Shan, have a look if we can see... Oh, Francisco Cartini getting in there as well. Have a look if we can see where Archie Heron and...
Ninth.
We are ninth. The ninth for Archie Heron. I'm not seeing the number 1 plate Carter out there.
Yeah, he got disqualified, right?
Oh, so he cannot join the final.
Nope, he got absolutely disqualified from the event as well as Nico van der Pavert. So that is unfortunate.
Both those drivers, we've lost our reigning world champion. His world championship he cannot defend because of a disqualification. Archie Heron, though, he's looking for a way past on Frederick Wold. Frederick Wold not defending just yet. But let's see what happens through the next part of this lap. Through the left-hander they go. The right-hander, no pass on there. He's going to look to get the exit. He's got the exit. He's going to be inside before Frederick. We've seen him do it before. He doesn't want to get involved in this fight. He knows who Archie Heron is. He knows the pace that car has. So from 9th, he goes to 8th. But now he's starting to catch up on a hard-charging Francisco Cartini, who's also looking to get his way up the field.
Wow.
Down the inside of Ben Lee he goes. We've seen him make 2 passes in under a lap. So Archie Heron not looking to mess around. He wants to get to the front. Alex O'Grady, 0.7 of a second ahead. And ahead of Archie Heron at the moment is about 3 seconds. Oh, mistake from Cartini. Let's not see them clash. Archie Heron through. So big moves from Archie. He's gone from 8 to 6. 3 in 1 lap. Archie Heron 3 places up in just 1 lap. Let's hope that those behind him work with him, though, because he's got a big gap to catch to get onto the back of Anson Carlander. William Yoniel all over the back of Jake Fluid. Just behind them, Fjölgr Fagerlund. William Yoniel no longer all over the back of him. He's going down the inside. Jake Fluid sees it coming, closes the door. Oh, William Yoniel opens for that second apex dive I thought about, I told you about. And but Jake Fluid closed it, soothed that door right in his nose.
Yeah, he gave him 0 chance to get through there. But Fagerlund all over the back of Yoniel now. He is also not want to hang around here. He really wants to move along. But Fluid defending like a man that wants to have P3.
Oh, contact sideways and did that. It did hamper Carlander, and that's going to drop Carlander right into the clutches of the hard chasing Archie Heron. And Archie Heron bringing Ben Lee with him as well. So this has turned into an absolute group as they trip over themselves. But Jake Fluid is starting to look like the cork in that bottle.
Yeah, that's for sure. But that opens the door for Heron, who started in P30 to potentially get a P3 slot here. Because honestly, if we're looking at the gap, Stevens breaking away from the guys behind him, but O'Grady 1 second the gap. There we go. Archie Heron
what a move down the inside from Archie Heron. He snuck that in there. But just have a look at the timing sheets, though. Archie Heron 4.1 seconds off, correct? But we've got a 3.2 second gap between Jake Fluid and Alex O'Grady. Unless Tay Stevens and Alex O'Grady fight over what is first place relatively early, Archie Heron is going to have his work cut out for him to turn that 3rd place from the final.
Another one.
Oh, another move up the inside, and it was late, but it was good. Fjölgr Fagerlund not going to get involved there. He knows that if he challenges on Heron, it's just going to stop Heron's charge, which in turn is going to stop his. Archie Heron is driving like a man possessed here in the final of the OKL World Finals. He's made up 4 or 5 places in the last 2 laps. And now he's starting to chase down Archie. Not Archie, he is Archie. Starting to chase down William Younghill down the inside of Jake Fluid. It's untidy. And that's just helped Archie Heron to go through. Is he going to have a move now on Younghill? Through the left-hander they go. He normally sneaks up the inside. He went for it. Younghill went to cover. Heron having none of it. Jake Fluid goes from moving back down the bottle to making himself the cork yet again. Heron being brave around the outside. There was a spin. We lost the KR. It was Younghill. He's gone from 4th in this race on the road to well down the order. Victor Gofalo now coming under constant pressure from Anton Carlander. Francisco Cartini, he moved up and passed Younghill there. So Younghill down behind that, but Archie Heron, he made easy work of everybody else behind him, not to take away from them. But Jake Fluid showing how they defend, showing how to defend around Genk. He's only defending for a 3rd place, but I think he knows that's all he can defend for, because O'Grady and Tay Stevens are miles up the road. O'Grady with a 1-second gap over down inside, he goes again. It's that late lunge move. It's almost impossible to defend, and he's got it done. And by competing as hard as he did to stay in front of Heron, he's dropped himself down behind Ben Lee and Phil Fagerlund. Now Heron needs to get his head down and start chasing that gap. It was 3 seconds, but it's all the way up to 5.3. Big send on the inside, Victor Phil Fagerlund. It was too much though, and he goes from trying to gain a place to losing 2. Jake Fluid might end up fighting for that 4th place instead of 3rd, because out in front, Archie Heron, he's dropped the hammer and he's gone. We know how much pace he's got, but it's nowhere near enough to catch 5 seconds in 10 laps.
That's crazy. How do we keep up with this? Here comes Fluid again.
On the inside, good move from him over the curb and through. Ben Lee coming back at him through the left-hander. Touch, a small touch.
Fogelin as well.
Fogelin's made big contact. He spun it.
Yeah.
There he goes on the infield. I could see him there. And Anton Carlander, contact from Francesco. The guys are getting a little bit untidy here with 10 laps left to go. Frederick Wold, he's smiling behind that crash helmet. He saw himself lose 2 or 3 places to the hard charges coming through the field, but a couple of mistakes in front of him, and he's moved himself back up to 8th place in the OKL final.
Yeah, he's picking up scraps now. William Younghill retired, Raven Kilder retired, Lucas Sturman retired, as well as Alessandro Serenetti. So that's very unfortunate. We've lost 4 drivers, 6 in total if we include the 2 guys that got disqualified from the race.
Yeah, but a race of this nature, an event of this nature, it's a final. It all comes down to that last lap. Anything can happen. It's all pretty much luck. But a man who's had no need for luck is Alex O'Grady. He's had the pace over the rest of this field most of the weekend. He's won almost all of his heat races. A penalty dropped him down in the pre-final to 2nd, but it didn't phase him. He was able to move himself back up from dropping into P4 at the start of the pre-final to move himself back up into the lead. He started pole, and he's basically looking at a flag-to-flag victory should he not make any mistakes. Tay Stevens, unfortunately, we thought he could have the pace to hang on to the back of Alex O'Grady. In the pre-final, he managed that. But it looks like Alex O'Grady's just found himself another gear to charge off into the front. Oh, lots of moving here. Oscar Paulsberg, where did he come from? We haven't seen him all race. He gets a little helping hand from Cartini off onto the outside and loses that place. But he's still fighting for it at the moment. So Francisco Cartini, the Burrell Art driver, keeping Oscar Paulsberg behind him. Sorry, Shan, continue.
No, I was just going to say, it's the stack of KG body kits all of a sudden popping up on the screen. They all managed to, like magnets, pull towards each other.
Yeah, we've been watching so much KR bodywork that it took a while for my eyes to adjust. Oh, this move! Oh, look at this racing. He forced the issue. He got up alongside Francesco. Francesco, we've seen, is a hard, aggressive racer. Francesco turns in hard, but Oscar Paulsberg having none of it. The elbows are out, and that Burrell bodywork got rubbed all sorts of the wrong way. And here's Milal contact behind between Carlander. So Carlander having a incredibly busy final here. We saw him up at he's contact again between himself and Cartini. How did he hang on to that?
Yeah, crazy.
That car turned from a 4-wheel machine into a bucking Bronco. But Cartini, definitely one of the more aggressive drivers out there on track. There's that second apex move. What a catch.
That was a good slide. But this isn't Tokyo Drift, though we are busy racing in go-karts.
I think, him trying to avoid impact that hadn't happened yet, locked the brake, and he had to hang on to a lot of oversteer. As we go back to Archie Heron in his very, very lonely third place. 5.8 seconds the gap between himself and Tay Stevens. Alex O'Grady now 1.9 seconds up the road. Ben Lee, what a final for him. Jake Fluids moved up from terrible heat races. Ben Lee, though, on road ahead of Jake Fluids, but on the timesheets behind him. So Jake Fluid managed to hang on to that fourth place. Here's Anton Carlander. Where does he fit in on the timesheets?
13th at the moment.
Down in 13th place. We were talking about him at 5th, and all of a sudden he's down in 13th. And this is a battle as well. Alwyn Palmquist and Kevin Wilcom, they are looking to move themselves up the field in the final. It's all about the racing at the end of the day. Doesn't matter where you are on the grid, as long as it's a good race and you enjoy it. That's what matters. 23 or 22 at the moment of the best drivers in KRP OKL leagues from Cartini, Malcolm Hillel saying let's go forward, and Cartini taking it a little bit too literally. Down the inside goes Vidal. He's made it stick, and it was a block pass if I've ever seen one before. And he's contact again.
Was
so
he just brake tested by the driver in front though?
I never want to call a brake test on the street. That is something I never ever want to do.
Because
I know there is data.
I
know there's data. I know there's telemetry. But I would never like to call a brake test. A brake test is the single most evil thing you can do in a go-kart.
How do you drive into someone on the straight though?
Because it physically gives you the person behind a fright. It actually and pain.
Yeah.
Like you actually feel the impact. It's terrible.
For sure. Listen, I'm just having a look at the YouTube chat. One of the guys saying, yeah, this race got boring. I definitely think the person watching must maybe just go back to live and maybe not watch a replay, because this is one exciting race.
I'm really trying. I'm really trying amongst all this hashtag Free Alphonse commentary to see where there is actually chat, because there's just loads and loads of Alphonse. But unfortunately, no Alphonse Kiwi. Our race director and stewards deciding it's not going to carry on for him. And that is why we don't see him DSQ. Back to our leader, though. It has kind of settled down, though, Shan.
Up front,
We've seen a lot of racing further down, but in front, Alex O'Grady absolutely dominating at the moment. We did say he had a bit of a dominant performance in the heat races. As we go back to this fight between Kevin Wilcom and Alvin Palmquist, it's not quite over yet. The Prima
they've been battling for quite a while. These
that
two.
definitely looks like a nose cone, though.
Yeah, on the Prima, yeah. Oh, celebrations. Nope.
Why? Adam Nudge, that's the driver that we thought was going to move up. Unfortunately, he's still fighting over those lower places outside the top 10. Kevin Wilcom, obviously hearing his name on the stream and just saying, how's it? And maybe making a mistake while doing so. Another driver we've seen fall down, Francesco Cartini. But no such poor luck for this man. Alex O'Grady aboard his blue and green KR. Matching suit, matching helmet, white gloves, of course. Have to have the white gloves. And the Michael Jackson racing boots. All on his own out there. 2.7 seconds is the gap. 16 of 19 laps completed. We will, it's 15 racing laps plus one formation. Only one formation in this final. The boys were able to settle down and get it right. Speaking of that, Shan, we said the minis were going to get it right first time. Was I wrong?
Nope. Well, were you?
So our minis... No, I wasn't. I think we got it right in the first lap, did we not?
Yeah, we did.
Right. Alex O'Grady caught 2:05. 3 seconds ahead of Tay Stevens. 5.8 ahead of Archie Heron. So that gap is closing. It was 4 points. It was over 5 seconds, or close to being over 5 seconds. It's now down to 2.8. So Archie Heron, Adam Nudge is now all over the back of Alvin Palmquist. He's down the inside into the double right. Alvin not finding that too hard. He knows the pace of Adam Nudge. Is he going to use Adam Nudge to catch onto the back of, who is that in front? Oscar Paulsberg, is it not?
Yeah.
Oscar Paulsberg just in front of this battle. So Adam Nudge chasing down the OTK car, chasing down
Actually, it's Carlander. Oh,
so Carlander? Who was that? Carlander?
Not anymore. He's out.
So Carlander, another RET. He landed on his head. Unfortunately, that chicane biting another driver. so he's out of this final. However, a bit of this misfortune for him. Alex O'Grady, however, not having any of that. Smooth as you like.
Phenomenal.
Super consistent. And hitting all his marks, making sure he's putting in lap after lap after lap. I'm having a look at that gap between Tay Stevens and Archie Heron. It's not changing in any way. 2.8. I don't see Archie Heron getting back there. Ben Lee, a further few seconds behind that. Jake Fluitt was in 4th place. Obviously, he still is on the road, I think, but a penalty has put him behind Ben Lee. Frederick Wold quite a bit further back from that as well. Starting our final lap now. Hand up Alex O'Grady as he crosses the line for the final lap. He's calling it too easy already. He's put his hand up as he crosses over to start the last lap. All he's got to do, he's done 24,000 laps of this circuit just to get here. What is one more? Nice and neat and tidy, using the entire circuit. It may be his last lap. He may be 3.2 seconds ahead, but still making sure he puts the kart in the right places. The worst thing you can do now is back off. That's when mistakes happen. Look over his shoulder to see the gap. There's no one near Alex O'Grady. He has all the space in the world. Through the final couple of corners he goes. The left-hander now into the little sweep. 2 more right-handers to go. Last brake pedal input. Last throttle input for the 2024 OKL World Finals.
Hey.
It is with a donut over the start-finish line. Alex O'Grady will take the crown as the 2024 OKL champion ahead of Tay Stevens and Archie Heron in 3rd place. What a comeback from that man.
Yeah.
12th on the grid after penalties, and he brings himself up into 3rd. 4th across the line. It was a fight for him. He was known as Ben Lee. He will now be known as Bruce Lee. What a fight to get up to 4th place from way down the order. 5th, Jake Fluitt. He fought hard for that. And in rounding out the top 6, aboard the IPK, Frederick Wold. There is Walter Morga on his way back to the pits. But look at these guys doing a bit of a parade for us on the way back. It was the 3 we spoke to in the pre-final. We did say if we were betting men, Shan, these were the 3 that were going to be back talking to us after the final. And that's exactly what happened.
Yeah, you can't believe it, though, because Archie Heron had a lot to do. And my word, if I had to choose a driver of the race, it would be Heron, because that was insane driving. He made those passes stick. He wasn't hanging around any driver. He picked the corners perfectly every time, and he went through there and he moved himself back up into P3. Unfortunately, the damage was done by the time he got through the whole pack. Stevens was way too far ahead, and even further ahead was Alex O'Grady. But a phenomenal piece of racing. I was thoroughly entertained with these drivers on track today. Yes, there would have been a lot of incidents, but like we said earlier, when you put all the best drivers in the world on a grid, and their lap times are that close together, you will see incidents. The slightest mistake and incidents will be happening. Look at the guys just parking it in front of the podium for us. Guys, obviously this is technically unofficial podium because incidents can happen, but in all fairness, I think Alex O'Grady had a perfectly clean race start to finish. And then Tay Stevens had a little bit to do in the beginning there, right? And then he came through. So I think the only person that's realistically in line for penalties will be Heron, because he had a lot to do coming through the grid. So we'll see. But we will be interviewing these drivers. They had a phenomenal race. I'm super, super happy for all of them because they really came out and put on a proper show for us.
Yeah, no, phenomenal driving from all of them. I'm sure we'll start with Archie Heron in our commentary booth here for our post-race interviews at the 2024 OKL World Championship. It was the World Final, once-off event. You had to get over the start-finish line at the end of it, either as the winner or Archie, for you, though, it was a bit harder. You had to start from 12th place after taking a penalty in that pre-final superheat. But what a drive, mate. 12th all the way up to P3. And that's kind of where your charge stopped, because unfortunately for you, O'Grady and Tay Stevens had checked out, but a great drive to come up to third. Congratulations to you. Talk us through that first opening lap. It must have been hair raising.
Yeah, it was very difficult. Like everyone's lagging out and everything, so you just gotta keep where you are. It's very difficult, but I think where I started is where I shouldn't have started there. I don't think. I think the penalty was just a bit stupid, but it is what it is. I still had the pace. I was quicker than the front two, I think, at the end, because I set my quickest lap at the end and caught another 3/10. But it is what it is, and I did well.
Yeah, to go from 12th to onto the podium, we actually watched a segment of your race. I think it was 3 laps that we watched. 3 laps and 6 overtakes. It was when you moved from 9th all the way up to, I think, 5th or 4th. So great driving from you, some great moves, well set up from corners previous. So you could see a lot of experience there from you. KLP, the sim, the event, how did you feel and did you enjoy it?
I think the event was good. I think the penalty side of it, so the stewards could have been looked in a bit more, but I guess you didn't have enough time to get a part from every driver included. But the whole event was really good. Like, I liked the format, how you actually had to do something to qualify for it, which was really good. And like the grid that actually raced was very competitive. It wasn't just one driver down the road. That's what I liked about the event the most.
No, some great drivers all the way through, and I think because of that qualification procedure they had to go through. So Archie, thanks so much for your insights on that, and again from my side, it'll be my last little bit with you, but thank you for showing off there what can be done to come through the field. A great drive from you, great clean drive from you, and congratulations on your podium finish.
Thank you.
Yeah, from my side,
Sam.
Archie, just well done. I think Kyle already covered everything. You had a phenomenal drive. You had your back against the wall, essentially, starting in the mid-pack. Anything could have happened there. And you came through, and you still managed to put it in P3. The top 3, you guys were so quick. And, if you started in P3, who knows? Anything could have happened then. But congratulations. You really put on a good show. You had some epic passes, and we really enjoyed it. So, hopefully we see you back next year for some more.
Thank you.
Okay, we move on to you now. Second place in that final. You called it. You said the outside row wasn't going to have such a great start. You knew you were going to fall down the field. But it was damage limitation from you, and you were all the way back up into second place, I think, by the end of the first lap. Talk us through your first lap and how you managed to make sure you were at least within touching distance of Alex come the end of it.
Yeah, like I said, the outside row is difficult to start on. Started P2. Out of the first corner, I was P3. So, but I managed to get back P2 again really fast, and I tried to catch Alex, but he was faster than me, and he knew that. So I was pushing just my limit, and yeah, it didn't work. So, but I'm happy with the P2. I gave it all. So yeah. Congrats to Alex too for us winning the title.
Yeah, we unfortunately didn't see a lot of you there because of where you positioned in terms of second place, but a nice, good, clean, consistent, easy game for you to hang on to that second place. Archie Heron had to do a big charge from further down the order, so that did give you a bit of breathing room, and there was a lot of fighting behind you once you had made that move into second, which I'm sure you didn't get to see, but it did give you that gap. It was a good, clean race from you, and you've consistently been in the front throughout this event. Talk us, me being new to this sort of format as a sim, event, give us some of your insights on this event and the 2024 World Final presented by OKL and how you feel about the event as a whole.
The event was great. The racing was, on the front was clean, no bumping each other. The stewards, great. Everything was great. Not really to say much on it, so yeah.
Well, fantastic. Like we've spoken before, OKL will hold a lot of series throughout the year, and we hope to see more of you in that. And you know, I'll join Shan in the commentary booth some more, and hopefully your name is a name I've said I will be saying consistently throughout the season, next season in the front, and we'll see you back here to defend your vice championship at the 2024 OKL World Finals. Shan, over to you.
Yeah, just something we never really mentioned, I guess. Tace, all three of the guys in the top three on the podium, you guys will be getting some memberships from OKL, so hopefully you use that wisely and come and race throughout the whole year. Congratulations on an epic race. You really had pretty much clean racing throughout the whole event. And I would like to say thank you to all of you guys for putting in the effort and really putting on a good show. It has been awesome. So congratulations on that, P2, and you know, and also to your colleague, your teammate rather, because you both are part of CV Performance, right? For you know, representing your team and just showcasing once again that CV Performance is one of the best kart racing pro teams, if not the best kart racing pro team at the moment. So yeah, congratulations, and we hope to see you next year for some more racing.
Yeah, thank you.
Now we move on to the man of the hour. He put it all together. 24,000 laps logged to get to this point. A lot of heat races, a lot of qualifying, a lot of trying to keep your nose clean. You've had possibly a fairy tale event bar a penalty for the pre-final. Alex, you won everything up until this point. You've won the final. Congratulations to you, and just tell us how you're feeling right now, and anybody at home or around you want to give thanks, and you know, how are you feeling right now?
Well, I'm obviously really happy with the event, how it went. I won every race basically, apart from Heat 3. I got a penalty, and earlier I was really angry at it. I didn't think I deserved 5 places, and I knew starting on P2 for the superheat, there's a huge chance I could just get spun around and taken out, and it could be over. But I managed to come through, win the superheat, and then we started pole for the final, and I managed to get a gap off the start. Thijs was right behind me at one point, but he made a mistake and dropped back. And I think it was a pretty easy race from there, just being consistent, not making any mistakes. And yeah, I'm really happy.
Yeah, you were able to basically get your head down and build a gap from the start of lap 1. No more dominant way to win a final than to start from P1, build a gap, and get away. I think at one stage it was up to almost 3 seconds, 3.4 seconds, I think was the end gap, if I'm not mistaken. I'm sure San will correct me on that. But great drive from you, great consistency. The setup of these karts to get it right to the point that you did, it must have taken hours of work. Is it something that you did yourself or for your team, or do you guys do it, you know, with input from everyone?
Well, for me, I make my setups by myself. I've been playing the game really long now. I know kind of going into a track what exactly to do. So at Sarno, I think after a few laps, I'd made the setup, and the only thing I changed really coming into Genk was the gearing, and that's about it. And yeah, I make the setups myself. I have my own Discord where I give the setups out, I sell them, and I do coaching as well. So yeah, that's how I do it.
Well, after we're done here, don't go too far. I'll have to hit you up there for some of that advice, setup, and coaching. I'm gonna try and bring myself back to the South African Masters racing as well. And but obviously for the international stuff and all of this, I'll be sitting in the commentary booth. But for my local stuff, I'll definitely be hitting you up, Alex, because it seemed to work. You had the pace of everybody. It was a truly dominant performance. In terms of the event, I know the 5-place penalty, you know, you might feel a little bit hard done by. But in terms of the event, besides that, is something you enjoyed and something you do again with us?
Yeah, I think the whole event was excellent, to be honest. It was very strict. Everyone behaved very well. The event was ran very good. I think with the penalties, it was very strict, almost too strict. But in order to keep everyone well behaved, you have to do that. And yeah, I've no complaints. And I'd like to thank the whole OKL group for their hard work.
Alex, thanks so much for those kind words at the end there. And again, congratulations, great drive from you. Race director, yes, very strict, but at least consistent. Shan, over to you.
Yeah, Alex, again, congratulations for phenomenal performance from your side. I would also like to just mention that as the same as last year when Alphonse Kiwi won it, OKL will be giving you a 1-year membership to OKL, where you can come and have some fun, race in the European League, maybe the WSK series that we are busy building. So we hope to see you back for some more racing, and not only throughout the Worlds, because it will be fun, I promise. We'll be having a lot of fun, and everybody congratulations to Alex O'Grady, who is your new online karting league world final champion. Alex, final words from you.
Yeah, thank you very much, Sean. And yeah, I'm really happy, and I'm sure I'll be back.
Thank you so much, and we'll let you go. All right, everybody, that is the end of it. It came by so quickly. It felt like a eternity to get to this point, to the heats. But then, wow, 3 consecutive nights. I'm fairly certain the admins or the stewards will be really burned out by now. So I would like to take a moment and just say thank you to the stewards and the admins who really had a lot of work to do. As you guys can appreciate, there's a lot of stuff happening in the background that most people won't see. As a simple example, every person needs to be allowed on certain servers, so we don't have random people joining. That takes hours worth of work. Then we're not even going to talk about the incident reviews, and I'm fairly certain the admins will be quite busy now, because the results, like we said earlier, is provisional. So not congratulations, thank you to the guys that volunteered their time, and thank you to each and every competitor that came out to race tonight and all the previous nights, and that completed 24,000 laps over the space of 2 weeks. It is a phenomenal achievement. 243 people coming to support OKL, or competitors rather. We took it down to 45 for the heats, and then we took it down to 24 for the final, and then we have one driver that reigned supreme over everybody else. And honestly, there was really never any doubt. It doesn't matter what we said as commentators. Alex O'Grady came through. He dominated his heats. The closest person to him was Tay Stevens in only 1 heat. And O'Grady, once he got into the front, he just ran away with it. So phenomenal work by him. And, that is the bar. The bar's been set. Everybody else now has a job to do. You're going to take some time off over the festive season, come back into KRP, and you're going to work through the whole year to catch and close the gap to Alex O'Grady, because I'm fairly certain he's going to want to come back next year and just show his dominance.
And also to hear that he's just, set up, works on his own setup, does his own setup, sells his own setup, and also driver coaches a lot of drivers in the KRP and probably IRL as well. Great to see him give back to the KLP and OKL community as well.
Yeah, and before we close it out, we're going to get our race director to maybe just come give some closing thoughts from his side. Scotty, welcome into the commentators booth. Maybe just give us your thoughts on the overall event. I know there would have been a lot of work, a lot of headaches, and a lot of swearing in the background, luckily not on the stream. But please just give us your thoughts of the event.
Yeah, it was difficult for sure. Everyone, I just want to say a big thank you to all the competitors that did compete in the World Championship this year. Everyone was, for the most part, very well behaved, and they listened, and I think it goes to show that they want to try and change the outlook on Kart Racing Pro and try and take it away from that mentality of a bumper kart sort of game. And tonight really showed with the performance and the level of competition with the drivers. So for us, yes, we've got a lot of work to do with the incident reports after each race, but once we sort out the little hiccups here and there, I think we'll be able to get everything a little bit smoother for the next lot of championships in the upcoming season. With exciting new content, which I'm super keen to get going on.
Yeah, Scotty, the consensus from all the drivers is that decisions made were very strict, but decisions made were very consistent, which I think does bode well to the future of any karting event in terms of that sort of control from the official side. As long as decisions are made and they're made consistently, I think everybody ends up appreciating that. But the amount of work it must take to get that much data and information done and turn around in a short period of time that you need to fit in with the schedule of the event must be an enormous job and an enormous undertaking. So from my side, having being part of this for the first time, I know it's your second year doing it, but part of it for the first time, I think great job. Hats off to every single person there involved in the stewarding and from the official side. But the one thing I would like to touch on with you guys is that I think in terms of this as a concept and this as a format, we're only in our second year and it can only grow in strength to strength from there. And each unique series has its unique problems. And as the years go on, those will then be ironed out and obviously put away. And we could probably end up with a really, really, really refined concept. And I think it showed a step from the arcade world into simulation and showed some really, really great close racing here at the 2024 OKL World Championship. So, Scotty, from my side, thank you so much for everything you guys put together, especially as volunteers.
Hey, like we do it because a lot of us we either race in real life or we have an absolute passion for karting. And, like it's not just the admins and everyone that's put the work in, it's also the drivers as well. Like as Shan said, they turned over a lot of laps trying to get their super license and be eligible for the event. But yeah, with the incident side of things, we were trying our hardest to get everything turned around as quickly as possible. Obviously, to keep everyone's attention. And, after the superheat, there was a lot to go through. So that was a 20-minute break, but we tried our hardest to get it done as fast as possible. And with the capabilities of KRP and what we can do going forward, we're going to start pushing some boundaries, trying to get in some new information for us so we can make it a lot faster and a lot smoother. So, but yeah, I just want to thank my admins and all the race officials for the last few days. They've been awesome. We've had a lot of drivers, IRL drivers, and a couple of friends step in to help out, get some more eyes on it. But yeah, we've got a lot of work to do this evening to go through, and the provisional results are now posted. So we've now just got to wait for the final results after all the incidents. But to you guys as well, I want to say a massive thank you for putting on such a great event and commentating for 3 nights and watching some really good racing.
Yeah, look, it was been an absolute pleasure with the amount of good racing that's been going on. I don't want to keep you too long because, like you say, you've got a lot to get done. But Scotty, another thing that you are involved with besides the race direction that you've done for this league is the skins, the helmet designs, and that sort of stuff from iDesign. Do you want to just give a quick shout out to that and where guys can get in touch to get this sort of stuff done for themselves?
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. So if you guys want, my link to my Discord is in the OKL Discord. You're able to contact me through there for custom liveries, helmets, suits. And if you would like, you are able to find my Instagram at Fast Track Driver Management. And through there, we can set up a program as well for real life stuff, for sponsorship proposals, contacts and stuff like that over here in Europe, for whether it be karting or Formula. But yeah, again, thank you guys so much for giving me this opportunity to be a part of such an amazing event. I can't wait to see what the future holds. I'm going to leave you guys to it, and we're going to kick on with all the incident reports.
Thank you.
So have a good night. Thank you everyone for competing, and we'll see you in the new year.
All right, guys, and I think we'll close it off on that note. I would just like to give another shout out to our sponsors for the event, Sports Alive South Africa, SimWorld, as well as Immortal. Phenomenal piece of work coming with these guys in the next couple years. They've been promoting us, we've been promoting them, and hopefully this collaboration will continue. We'll continue working with Scotty at iDesign. And then hopefully also Kyle Lawrence, who was my co-commentator for this event. Hopefully he'll stay around, not only come and race in the Masters Division for South Africa next year, but also commentate with me. I think we're busy building something amazing. we're still in the infant stages of this thing. Even though this is our second year, OKL has been running for about 3-4 years, officially only 2 years, really. We're still only laying down the foundation, and big things are coming. So we invite you guys to follow our socials, even though it's not as active as it should be, but we will be changing that going forward. But get involved in any way. If it's just support, if you want to get a membership and come race and use the tracks as a training tool, anything you guys can think of, we will be there and support you as much as you guys support us. So thank you so much for tuning in for this World Final. We will see you in literally 2.5 months' time for the start of the South African Championship. Not long after that, the European Championship. Not long after that, the African Championship. And then at the tail end of the year, the WSK Series, which we are busy building with Scotty as well. There's a lot of formats that goes into that. And then again, a year later, the World Final once again. So hang around. Over the next year, we're going to make this big. We're going to make this even bigger than what it was this year. And we will see you guys in 2025. Enjoy your festive season. Enjoy your off time. Those traveling, please stay safe. Those finishing their exams. I know most of the South Africans are doing exams this time of the year. Good luck. Hopefully you guys finish strong. We're almost at the end of the year. Enjoy it. And we will see you in 2025. Thank you so much. Goodbye.